Frosted Tips, techno music, and Abercrombie jeans assemble to create the laughable form of a teenage German boy. Never have I experienced an eruption as positively vomit-inducing as the butterflies I felt for the first time 8 years old at George Bush Intercontinental Airport. Unable to comprehend why I felt nauseated and too young to understand truly what this tittering feeling meant, I understood without conditioning that it was something I had to keep secret. It was this moment that revealed to me a fact I was to grapple with my entire life. I am different. I wrote music modeled after the obvious icons of my youth, Jump 5, Britney Spears, and NSYNC, while my brother shot airsoft guns at cams. I ogled at lightweight wizard's wands and pixie dust at the Renaissance Festival, while my brothers fought over imaginary territories with their gaudy steel swords. I only ever felt curious about my butterflies, never confined, until my stepmom dragged me away from an enchanted elven crown and single-handedly broke me with the phrase, "Why are you always only interested in the girl stuff?" I walked away somberly from the glass case, the merchant sadly waving goodbye, and emulated my brothers for the rest of the day. I thought to myself, maybe if I try really hard I can change. I can be interested in other stuff too. High school arrived, as it tends to do, at the tipping point of self-awareness. As my involvement in the drama club rose, my involvement in drama declined. I found a home, a cozy little hobbit hole of people strikingly like myself. I also stumbled upon a girl whom I would come to care for intensely as our 3-year relationship progressed. Stumbled is an accurate word. I stumbled around behind her as a freshman to her sophomore status. I stumbled in the shower as I found my footing and lost my virginity at junior prom. And I stumbled to search for the words when the pressure became too unbearable to hide the fact that I had fallen for one of our best friends, a chiseled, blonde, Danish varsity soccer player who wore copious amounts of cologne, but swore adamantly that it was his natural body scent. My now ex-girlfriend, having parted on the best of terms, left for college. The butterflies were back, and I was beginning to question whether this was a boy thing, or more specifically, a European boy thing. Late night rum and coke passed between us, and courage swelled inside of me. I forced out my emotions, trembling on his front porch, only to find that my butterflies for him had found companionship and his butterflies for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months passed of flirtatious encounters, holding hands, short kisses, and dying in the scent of his natural body odor. I will never forget the first time I went in for a real, full kiss. I grabbed him around the waist, and he perched his head on my shoulder. As I turned, and he whispered to me that he was sorry and could not pretend anymore. The last 6 months had been an orchestrated attempt led by my best friend so that I would not suffer rejection. Something was rotten in the state of Denmark, and for the first time since the Renaissance Festival, I felt broken. My sexuality was something to be pitied. I was painfully aware of my outsider status. I hated who I was, and I wished I could change. St. Louis, Missouri, or East Jesus Nowhere, was the romantic hotspot of age 19. My knight in shining armor, chivalrously lowered onto one knee, ring outstretched, irresistible, proposed an offer that I could not refuse. Having spent the better part of 2 years by his side, I was ready to commit to the man who proved the only person I could sleep comfortably next to. This was beyond butterflies. This was the deeply rooted knowledge that at age 19, I was ready to share my life with a James Bond-obsessed, Malamute-owning, curly-haired stud, even though his last name was Dick. We had been seeing each other in Texas, but as I moved from my freshman year of college to St. Louis, we would visit each other every month. He would visit me, and I would let him snooze in my dorm during class. I would visit him, and he would concoct fancy drinks from his bartending days. He would visit me again, and we'd go on ice cream adventures. I would visit him and see that he had been exchanging naked photos with other guys. He would call me, and I would talk to him for hours. I would call him on Valentine's Day, and he would hang up because he had another guy over for drinks. Every day, and in every way possible, I would distract myself, because having him in any capacity was better than not having him at all. The day came when I walked in on him with a friend of mine who had only feigned friendship for months to keep me oblivious. This was the only time that I have ever truly wanted to die. Similar to the butterflies, this was something that I felt deeply and intensely. I was experiencing true physical pain from emotions for the first time in my life, and I felt broken. I hated who I was, and I wanted to segregate myself from the community I had been learning to love. As I dusted myself off, and believe me, it took months, I enraptured myself in this dick's copy of The Hobbit, which I had stolen as a token of my undying love. I surfed through the pages in amazement of how smoothly it read. Closing the last page, a gigantic smile spread across my face. I was not quite okay, not quite recovered. Pieces of me were still clawing their way towards each other with crazy glue in hopes of repair. A change had occurred, though. I began to realize that nobody leads a predictable journey. Every happy moment in discovering who I was and piecing together my identity was bound to follow with occasional disaster. I keep The Hobbit on my bookshelf now as a reminder of both my capacity to love someone to the fullest depth of my heart, but also that a new journey is always on the precipice. Maybe next time I'll meet someone who will tag along for good.